Up next then, a look at all the top stories in the print press in our press review. Let's take a look then at what's making headlines in the world's newspapers, and Solange Majaz is here to talk us through it all. Hi, Solange.
Hi, Nadia.
You're going to be starting us off then with that diplomatic spat between Canada and Saudi Arabia, and it's making headlines then in both countries' newspapers.
It is indeed, and this all began when the Canadian government called for the release of two prominent human rights activists, which created much ire in Riyadh, with Mohammed bin Salman withdrawing his ambassador and ordering Canada's ambassador to leave the country. So now, how is the Saudi press treating this spat? Well, as we can see on the front page of the Saudi-based paper Arab News, they go through the list of countries and the organizations that have praised the Crown Prince's move. But on the other end of the spectrum, in the Canadian press, there's much surprise and indignation. And the Globe and Mail argues that this isn't even about Canadian-Saudi relations, that it's about, quote, deflecting regional and domestic criticism about Saudi foreign policy blunders, namely Mohammed bin Salman's temporarily invoking the possibility of backing Jared Kushner and the White House's proposal for an Israeli-Palestinian peace plan, a possibility and a proposal that King Salman overruled after dissent began to show within the kingdom.
Yeah, certainly a very controversial issue then. And how is this all being viewed in the American media?
Well, the New York Times has a scathing editorial about it today. They call the Saudi moves worthy of backward, insecure despots. The paper calls it unnecessarily aggressive and clearly intended to intimidate critics into silence. And the Times regrets that that the Trump administration, there's been hardly, quote, a whimper of protest.
Let's stay then in the United States for your next story, because it's been a deadly couple of days in Chicago. Over 70 people shot there in multiple incidents of gunfire. A local paper saying it's actually worthy of a war zone.
Yeah, the summer season is killing season. That's what the Chicago Tribune calls this latest spat of killings, where a dozen people were killed and scores of others were shot in this past weekend. Now, the paper says that the warm weather brings people outside, including gang members. But they say that the real culprit is a proliferation of guns and a lack of investment in poor neighborhoods. And that until that is fixed, the paper says that violence goes on from killing season to killing season.
Okay, let's turn then, Solange, to some other more serious news, this time, though, on the climate change front. Scientists saying that we may now, as a planet, be reaching a tipping point, after which all human efforts to curb emissions may be pretty futile.
Yeah, this is pretty depressing, but very important news. Scientists have been looking into whether the Earth's temperature can be stabilized at 2 degrees higher than it should be, or whether, as the Paris Climate Accord is aiming to do, or if the Earth's temperatures will go even higher. And scientists don't know what's going to happen, but they've made some grim hypotheses and conclusions if the temperatures do rise above that. And if they do, scientists say in The Guardian that we could enter into a hothouse state, or a cycle where there's a sort of domino effect, one where rising temperatures and their effects could create even more rising temperatures, ones that would have dire consequences on our ability to actually live in parts of the planet in the next century.
Let's go to a story here in France now, then, Solange. More sad news, but perhaps slightly more palatable, and that's that tributes to the French chef Joël Robuchon are being discussed everywhere, and really tributes to his famous mashed potato recipe.
Indeed. The French press today has its mind on lots of butter and lots of potatoes. As you can see on the cover of Libération, it pays tribute to the passing of one of France's great cooks, Joël Robuchon, and Libération headline, "Au purée," which literally translates to "oh mashed potatoes." But it is also a play on words. For "au purée" in French also means "oh shoot" or "oh no." And Libération is saying "oh no" to the passing of the 73-year-old who was the world's most Michelin-starred chef. Libération has multiple articles and tributes from chefs around the world who say they were inspired by Robuchon. Now, if you want to know more about how the Poitiers native changed French cuisine, you can head to the New Yorker as well, where Adam Gottnet says Robuchon was, quote, a hinge figure in history, a chef that opened the door to the cuisine of today by mastering traditional recipes, among them his famous buttery mashed potatoes.
Indeed, Solange. Finally, then, you're going to take us to India for your last story, where there's a video, 2 farmers dancing while ploughing a field with their oxen, and it's gone viral.
Yeah, it has. This is from the Indian Express, but you can find articles and the video across the web. The buzz is about 2 farmers from a remote village called Lambadipali, and it shows the men dancing in the mud with their oxen and participating in the Kiki dance. Now, what is the Kiki dance? Well, it's a video fad of people dancing exuberantly outside their cars, on bridges, and in weird places. Well, the 2 men endearingly decided to mix the toils of plowing fields while knee-deep in the mud with silly dance moves. Much of the internet has deemed them the winners of the Kiki challenge.
I have to check it out myself then. Thank you very much.
Good watching.
Solange Moujat there with our press review on the programme. And if you'd like more press reviews from Solange and all our other press reviewers, you can head to our website, france24.com.